parent or anyone who's been promised in, but we go to people like my kids in their 20s when they're coming into the system and we say the rules have changed. We change retirement age to reflect life expectancy.
What's the right age there then, Ambassador?
We've got to figure out what it is, but what we do know is 65 is way too low.
You are not going to get millennials, especially Gen Zers, to work till they're 70 years old. There's no incentive anymore. At least 30 years ago, the incentive was you could work 40 hours for 40 years, afford a home, afford a living, have retirement, and have hope.
So this keeps showing up on my feed, so I have to make a comment to it because it's a completely ridiculous position point. Nikki Haley shouldn't have said the rules have changed and we need to tell millennials or 20-somethings to, we have to shift them from 65 to 70 for retirement. What she should be saying to you is that the politicians will currently stop lying to you as they've been lying to your parents over the last generations. This idea that the government's going to be coming in and fixing something is complete ridiculous. But think about it. Do we even have the politicians currently right now in our system that can solve problems? AOC was a bartender before that. Nothing against her, and it's great that she's now in the House of Representatives. Great for her. But as someone without any financial experience whatsoever, is she really going to be able to go in and determine what the great or the best financial the system is for the entire government? Of course not. Who's going to do that is the lobbyists and other people who actually are going to profit over whatever system that gets voted through. Joe Biden can't even find himself off of a stage. Is he going to come up with it? And then there's Trump, even on the other side. He can't get out of his own way with attacking people and talking about how someone's dress looks good or doesn't look good. It's completely ridiculous. Since the beginning of time, since I've been following the politicians, since I've been following the economy, we were told that we all deserved a house. And what happens? We all went and voted, and they were loosening the guidelines for the housing or for mortgages. And what happened there? The housing crisis, and tons of people lost their homes, and literally trillions and trillions of dollars completely wiped away from the American people. Who made money? Big corporations that reached in and grabbed up all those houses that were in foreclosure. And then we actually told everyone that everyone deserves to actually go to school. We should all be able to get a 4-year degree. And then what happened? We loosened the guidelines for student loans. We guaranteed student loans, and everybody went to college. Some people graduated. Some people got terrible degrees, but the cost of education went up 200x. It's supply and demand. And of course, it completely happened. Did that help? No. Now we have students with degrees that aren't useful, or they're in jobs that they can't even afford the education or the cost of that education. And then in the past just 3 years alone, we have voted for trillions of dollars to move our country out of cheap energy into green energy. That's going to increase gas prices. That's going to increase gas itself, natural gas. That's going to increase basically everything, because if transportation costs more, then delivery costs more, which means food costs more. We're reducing the amount of farming that we have, which increases food prices. So we are doing this to ourselves because the politicians are now saying that we deserve to have clean air or something like that. And it's just another scheme for them to all get rich. We were told that we should all get free health care, and that should be a system for everyone. But we have an open border where we have 22 million people that aren't necessarily contributing to the system getting free health care. And who's paying for it? Yes, the average American. So now our insurance, or my insurance, which was $400 a month, which is now $2,400 a month, when I call the doctor to actually try to go get an appointment, it takes 3 months. Did that solve the problem? No, of course it didn't. And now, yes, there's Social Security, this idea that the younger generation, we're going to pay for the older generation. Well, anybody with a sense and any sort of basic third grade financial understanding of how money works realizes that that's not going to work, because what happens if the older generation is a larger population than the younger generation? How is that supposed to work out? How is a younger generation that makes less money going to support the larger generation that's going to have a higher lifestyle? It makes no sense whatsoever. If you, as a 20-something person, continuously vote for politicians that promise you that they're going to give you free housing and free college and free health care, and they're going to solve all your problems, it ain't coming. It ain't coming, Cupcake. It ain't coming. The only person that you can rely on is yourself. Politicians don't rely on our education system to educate their kids. Politicians don't rely on our healthcare system to go get their medical care. They don't rely on our financial system or Social Security for their retirement. The politicians, the wealthy, the rich, coming from me, let me educate you, we don't rely on any of those systems. Politicians tell uninformed, uneducated people that they will solve all their problems, so you vote them in, give them more power so they can continuously enrich yourselves. If you're headed to the ballot box this December, I highly, highly encourage you find the politicians that want to restore the country back to where your grandparents had it, where what you put in the ground is what you took out of the ground. If you wanted savings, if you wanted money, you needed to stop spending, you need to earn and save and invest. You rely on those particular principles, and I can promise you, you're going to be sound. If you rely on the principles that someone's coming to save you, you're going to be in a lot of trouble.